State officials estimate that 50 to 60% of federal lobster fishery permit holders are not yet fully compliant with new rules that require either weak rope or plastic weak links be spliced into existing end lines. Supply chain issues are a big reason why. While they declined to move the May 1st deadline, NOAA recently announced they would allow a, quote, graduated enforcement effort that will focus on compliance assistance rather than civil penalties.
We don't start off writing tickets.
Kelleher says for at least the next few months, enforcement will focus on education and tracking of lobstermen's compliance efforts.
We're going to approach this like every other rulemaking that we do, whether it's a whale rule or a lobster conservation rule. We're asking for voluntary compliance. That's how this fishery works.
NOAA says that graduated enforcement will last, quote, until we have determined that localized supply chain issues have been sufficiently resolved.
Everything that's on order has already been sold to fishermen.
Hamilton Marine's Director of Sales, Evan Coles, says they've got tens of thousands of gear components on order already, but it's all taken.
Get it on order. If you're waiting for it to show up on the store shelf, it's probably not going to happen for quite a while.
There have also been setbacks for some fishermen who have seen new equipment fail.
I've talked to a fisherman on Islesboro the other day who spent hundreds of hours complying by putting in the new approved 5/16 rope into his gear. All of it failed when it was under pressure because of the stretching. So he's literally starting over again.
Both Kelleher and Coles say they believe that most Maine lobstermen and women could be fully compliant by early August, but Coles says that is contingent on supply chain issues resolving and lobstermen and women being able to convert their gear in the midst of the current fishing season.
And that's going to be a challenge for them.
NOAA declined our request for an interview, but said in an email that, quote, state and federal law enforcement will be present on the water and dockside in support of this effort. If a civil administrative action is warranted, the NOAA Office of General Counsel has a public policy that explains its process for determining the appropriate penalty, end quote. Kelleher says penalties will be a last resort.
At some point, we do start writing tickets. And tickets could mean a license loss. And we don't want that to happen, right? We don't want to have to take licenses to become compliant. We want to educate them to the need and work in that direction.
In Searsport, Beth Jones, ABC 7 and Fox 22.